Hello, classmates. My name is Stephen Smith, and this is my final presentation for our Introduction to Civil Engineering Technology class. My topic today is on the Flint water crisis, and I have appropriately named my presentation, Can I Get a Glass of Water? I hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll try to make it brief but as informative as possible. Flint once thrived as the home of the nation's largest General Motors plant. The city's economic decline began during the 1980s when GM downsized. In 2011, the state of Michigan took over Flint's finances after an audit projected a $25 million deficit. In order to reduce the water fund shortfall, the city announced that a new pipeline would be built to deliver water from Lake Huron to Flint. In 2014, while it was under construction, the city turned to the Flint River as a water source. Soon after the switch, residents said the water started to look, smell, and taste funny. I mean, I wouldn't want that water coming out of my fire hydrant. April 25th, 2014. The switch to the Flint River finally happens. And on August 14th, 2014, the city announces a form of fecal bacterium has been detected in the water supply, which calls for a boil water advisory for a neighborhood on the west side of Flint. The city then boosts the amount of chlorine in the water and flushes the system. On October 1st, 2014, the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality issues a governor's briefing outlining possible causes for the contamination issues. Among the problems are leaking valves and aging cast iron pipes susceptible to a buildup of bacteria. The Department of Environmental Quality concludes flushing the system and increasing chlorine in the water will limit the number of boil water advisories in the future. Later that month, the General Motors plant in Flint stops using the city's water due to concerns about high levels of chlorine corroding engine parts. The company strikes a deal with a neighboring township to purchase water from Lake Huron in lieu of using water from the Flint River. The switch is anticipated to cost the city $400,000. Finally, beginning of the year, January 2015, the city deems the water safe for general population, but the elderly and parents of young children are cautioned to consult with their doctors. Finally, on January 12th, 2015, the city of Detroit offers to reconnect the city with Lake Huron water, waiving a $4 million fee to restore service. City officials decline, saying rates could go up more than $12 million each year, even with the reconnection fee waiver. The corruption only beginning in March of 2015, the Flint City Council members vote 7-1 to stop using the Flint River water and to reconnect with Detroit. However, state appointed emergency manager Jerry Ambrose overrules the vote, calling it incomprehensible, claiming that costs would skyrocket and that water from Detroit is no safer than water from Flint. Later that year, June of 2015, an Environmental Protection Agency manager issues a memo high lead levels in Flint, warning that the city is not providing corrosion control treatment to mitigate the presence of lead in drinking water. According to the memo, scientists at Virginia Tech tested tap water from an individual's home and found that the lead level was as high as 13,000 parts per billion. Water contaminated with 5,000 parts per billion of lead is classified by the EPA as hazardous waste. September of 2015, a team from Virginia Tech concludes that 40% of Flint homes have elevated lead levels. And the EPA also announces that it will assist Flint in developing a corrosion control treatment for the water. September 11th, 2015, Flint water is determined to be 18 times more corrosive than Detroit water. Virginia Tech recommends that the state declare the water is not safe for drinking or cooking. The river water is corroding old pipes and lead is leaching into the water, according to the study. December 14th, 2015, Flint finally declares a state of emergency. Governor Dan Snyder asked President Obama to also declare a state of emergency, but the president declines in January of 2016, but authorizes $5 million in aid, declaring a state of emergency in the city. The state of emergency allows the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, to step in. Finally, in November of 2016, the state of Michigan and city of Flint are ordered by federal agencies to deliver bottled water to homes where the government has not checked to make sure the filters are properly working. March 17th, 2017, the EPA announces that it is awarded $100 million to Flint for drinking water infrastructure upgrades. March 28th, the year 2017, a federal judge approves a $97 million settlement in which the state of Michigan agrees to replace the lead or galvanized steel water lines in the city of Flint. The state will recover the cost of replacing water lines, the pipes that connect household plumbing to the main distribution pipe running beneath the street, for at least 18,000 Flint households by the year 2020. Imagine your family members, your friends, your children not being able to drink water until the year 2020. It's despicable. The Michigan Attorney General's office announces that several state officials have been charged with involuntary manslaughter in connection with the Legionnaires' outbreak in the Flint area between June 2014 and November 2015 that killed at least 12 people during the Flint water crisis. In October later that year, the House Oversight Committee sends a letter to Governor Dan Snyder requesting clarification regarding his sworn testimony that he did not learn about an outbreak of Legionnaire's disease in Flint until 2016. Questions about the accuracy of the governor's statement are rooted in court testimony by one of his aides, who said he told Snyder about the outbreak in December of 2015. Now, does anyone have answers to the Flint water crisis? 2 years ago, everyone thought they had the answer. Flint even thought they had the answer by adding corrosion control treatment to the water. But the real answer to the problem is that the lead pipes need to be replaced and switched to PVC. There has to be a thorough, federally third-party independent investigation done to determine whether state, federal, civil engineers, environmental engineers, someone knew about this problem and someone tried to cover it up. Being from the state of Michigan, specifically Detroit, Michigan, I know that this project will cost billions of dollars. And although it will be expensive, cutting corners is how we got here in the first place. And cutting corners is how we have cut people's lives short. We have no idea the impact of what lead in the water will do to the babies that are born or were made during this process. But I hope that everyone can understand that people are more than just numbers, and that engineers, specifically civil and environmental engineers, cannot cut corners and need to pay attention because our jobs do matter. And also, remember, if you don't remember anything else from this presentation, that Flint lives do matter. Thank you.